And I can wear
Ready to go? Well, good morning, everyone. If I could grab everyone's attention, we're going to get started here right away. I would just ask anybody that's joining us via the phone on the line, if you can make sure your phone's muted, then we won't hear that as we get going. So welcome, everyone. My name is Jared Schaefer, and I am here today as the MC. Just want to clarify, I'm not here as one of the hockey celebrities. Even though I did score twice. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. I scored twice against the Houston Pizza Panthers, on Friday night, but I'm just here as MC today. Anyways, we've gathered a great variety of speakers this morning to provide some insight into what's going to be a very special week this February when Swift Current hosts Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. Swift Current is going to be the center of the hockey world for 4 days as we host the game's national celebration, which will be broadcast on Sportsnet CBC Saturday, February 9th. This is going to be the 19th edition of Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada, and hockey fans here are in for a week that they will never forget. Now, a lot of people have been working very hard on this project since last March, so I would like to begin by thanking the City of Swift Current, the local organizing committee, as well as the Swift Current Broncos and the Western Hockey League. Of course, we are very grateful to Sportsnet for bringing this event to Swift Current, and to Scotiabank for their incredible partnership with Sportsnet and for their passion for the game of hockey. Now, we do have a few speakers with us in the room, over the phone and by FaceTime, but before we get to them, please take a look at the video screen and see what's coming to Swift Current this February.
Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. It's Canada's national celebration of the game of hockey. Each winter, Sportsnet dedicates 13 hours of coverage on one day to tell stories from coast to coast to coast. The game we all love, all 7 Canadian teams are in action. Through the years, the show's told countless stories about those who play the game, those who love to watch.
Many of Newfoundland's hockey icons are everyone else's icons. Here, the heroes of Saturday night are celebrated right along with the rest of Canada. It is something we share.
Anytime a young person, or anyone puts on their hockey jersey, and it's a Thistle jersey, they're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Parents place their trust in junior teams to develop their sons both on and off the ice. The best billets shape values and lives. Nobody was better than Doris.
She was always there to help you out or make sure that you're having problems in school. Maybe you need to talk to somebody that wasn't, a teacher or somebody involved with the organization from a hockey standpoint. You can always go over there and see Dora.
This year, the host city for our national celebration is Swift Current, Saskatchewan, home of the Swift Current Broncos and a vast minor hockey system. 30 years ago, the Swift Current Broncos won Canada's junior title by defeating the Saskatoon Blades in the 1989 Memorial Cup, capturing their first national title. The victory was a huge accomplishment for Swift Current, whose importance to the city remains as strong as ever, one of the smallest markets in major junior hockey. It's an emotional story, how a team and a city tried to heal after the tragic bus crash on the Trans-Canada Highway that killed 4 players just 2.5 years earlier. This February, Scotiabank's Hockey Day in Canada will celebrate courage. The courage that so many people have on and off the ice, not only in Swift Current, but across the country, as they compete in the game, as they compete in life.
In hockey, we talk about the word courage a lot, and when you see it firsthand, to me that's inspirational. To me that's why I was able to play the game for 26 years. That kind of courage, that kind of mentality is what it took to win.
We'll celebrate many of the faces who've played for the Broncos and on to NHL careers whose lives were shaped by the city and the team.
Swift Current's hockey, through and through. And that's where you come here, you play with the Broncos, you are the man. You are the team.
For us, Swift Current was, the metropolis. I enjoyed my time in Swift Current. Swift Current was my backyard. It became my hometown.
We'll celebrate with NHL All-Stars who continue to promote the game across the country, work with young kids on and off the ice, and we'll also have royalty in the house for everyone to experience. Music will be front and center, as the Living Sky Casino will host an event dedicated to hockey and music. The gala will be hosted by Ken Reid and Ivanka Osmak from Sportsnet, feature a who's who of the hockey world, where stories will be told and old friendships renewed. Friday night's Alumni and Celebrity Classic will be a chance for fans to watch former Broncos, NHL alumni, and Sportsnet personalities take to the ice in a game that's sure to bring back the glory of yesterday. It all culminates on Saturday, when the 19th edition of Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada will come together from Riverdene Park, where an outdoor festival will welcome fans to celebrate throughout the day. In the evening, the iPlex will be the backdrop for Hockey Night in Canada, with Don Cherry in the coach's corner, as the Swift Current Broncos take on the Saskatoon Blades in front of a sellout crowd and a national audience.
We are so excited to be hosting Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada on February 9th, right here in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. When we as a community first found out about it, we were just flabbergasted and floored, and with almost some pinch me moments, try to see, is this real? We're grateful, and we can promise we are going to host the best hockey day that's ever happened before in Canada, right in Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Join us for a 4-day celebration beginning February 6th as Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada comes to town for what will be a memorable celebration for Swift Current and for hockey fans across Canada.
Well, that is definitely an amazing video, and it is going to be an amazing week here at Swift Current. There will be no shortage of opportunities to mingle with hockey stars, see the Stanley Cup, and take part in countless activities and events to celebrate Canada's game. At this point, I would like to introduce the executive producer for NHL Special Events with Sportsnet, Joel Darley. Joel.
Thanks, Jared. It's a thrill to be here today, and I'm extremely excited about the events to come in February. Today, I realized driving in from Regina, I joined the CBC Sports 30 years ago today, so it's a little celebration I'm having today in Swift Current. And I can tell you, I've been to a lot of events over the years, Olympics, Stanley Cup Finals, and this is going to be my 19th version that I'm going to be a part of, and I can tell you there's no better event to be a part of. So we're all looking forward to being here in February. A friend I played hockey with when I grew up outside of Buffalo as a youngster, he booked a ticket to Swift Current last week. He's a huge hockey fan, and I've tried to get him to come to Hockey Day for a bunch of years, so he called me last week and he said, I booked my ticket. He says, I don't even know where Swift Current is. And he said, this better be good. And I said, don't worry, it's going to be good. Why? And he said, well, he says, I have to get on a plane in Albany. I'm flying into New York City. Then I fly to Chicago. Then I fly to Winnipeg. And then I land in Regina. And I said, it's Regina. And I said, and don't forget the 2.5-hour drive. So I'm excited that he's going to make it here, and I'm confident that his love of the game, this will be a trip of a lifetime for him. And just like it will be for many here, it's going to be a great experience of this 4-day celebration with Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada coming right here in Swift Current. I'm also bringing my son. He's still mad at me that I didn't bring him to Corner Brook last year. He's 16 years old, and I think I actually have the Swift Current Broncos theme room at the Home Inn and Suite, so I can't wait till they check in. So why Swift Current in 2019? And you're going to hear from Robin Wall in a little bit, and Robin was involved in Shaunavon a few years ago. He called me about a year ago and mentioned about the 30th anniversary of the Swift Current Broncos Memorial Cup win in 1989. And really that's how it started. We had a conversation, and we talked about some ideas. And obviously so much has happened since then, and I can think of no better place for us to be in Swift Current and in Saskatchewan in 2019. As you heard in the video, our theme this year is courage. Of all the shows that we've done over the years, I can't think of a theme that is more appropriate for this year's show. And we will tell stories about courage from Swift Current to Humboldt to across the country, and how the game of hockey does shape our lives every day. Just to talk about some of the key events, and I know Robin is going to talk more about tickets and things like that, but this has turned into a 4-day celebration. The first year, really, it was just 1 day, but it's grown over the years. So on the Wednesday night, we have the Music of Hockey Day, which is going to be hosted by Ron. And we've got some great artists that are going to perform that night. The Hunter Brothers are going to perform. I know JJ and Luke are here. So we're excited about that. Dave Bedini of the Rio Statics and his band, Bedini Band, will be the house band that night. Tara Sloan is going to perform. We're going to have Ryan Bolt from Deep Dark Woods. We have Leonard Sumner, who's a First Nation singer from Manitoba. And of course we have Brian Trottier, who's been the anchor of our music event for the last few years. And I think he has an original song, and of course he'll spice it up with his usual renditions of some Johnny Cash songs. So we're really excited about Wednesday night. I think over 500 people we expect for that night. The banquet the next night will include a lot of alumni. Don and Ron will be the main speakers that night. And Ken and Ivanka from Sportsnet will host the event. We have a great breakfast planned with Andrew Ferentz and the Stanley Cup, tied to the NHL and the Declaration of Principles. And then Friday night's alumni game should be a great event again, with a lot of alumni from the Broncos and NHL folks playing in that game as well. And then Saturday, as mentioned, we will host from Riverdene Park. So I'm hoping -5, a little bit of snow. We've had a lot of warm weather over the last few years, but we're hoping we have a great event down at Riverdene Park. And then we'll move over here to the iPlex, where Ron and Don will host the pregame show and Coach's Corner. So I think one of the things that when you talk about having a party, it's all about who you invite to the party. And I wrote down some names here who's going to be here. So I think this tells you about the enormity of this event and some of the special folks that are coming. So Ron MacLean and Don Cherry, Cassie Campbell-Pascal, Ken Reed and Ivanka from Sportsnet Central, Tara Sloan, the Scotiabank teammates who have been with us for many years, Lanny McDonald, Wendell Clark, Darcy Tucker, Glenn Healy from the NHL alumni. Well, I think last night I convinced him he's a bagpiper, so I think he's going to pipe in the Stanley Cup at the musical event, so that should be fun. Alumni from the Ottawa Senators, Chris Phillips and Chris Neal, Andrew Ferentz, as I mentioned, and then some local favorites, Sheldon Kennedy, Trent McCleary will be involved, Tim Tisdale, Travis Moan, Bobby Joe Slusser is going to be involved as well, and of course Brian Trottier. And what would Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada be without the Stanley Cup, which will be here, and many people will have a chance to spend some time with the Stanley Cup. So special thanks to the city and the mayor and everybody who's involved. This takes a lot of work and a lot of people, and I want to thank the city for all their help with regards to that. Thanks to the WHL and the Broncos for their support. And finally to our title sponsors, Scotiabank. They are an amazing supporter of hockey, and they're an amazing supporter of this event. And come February, you'll see how special they are and how they support this event to its fullest. So I look forward to February, and thank you again for everybody coming today.
Well, thanks very much, Joel. That's a great rundown. We wouldn't be able to celebrate the game in the way we are if it wasn't for the tremendous support from Scotiabank. So please welcome Ben Nesbitt, Branch Manager of Scotiabank right here in Swift Current.
Thanks, Jared. So we speak about courage. Let me assure you it is taking a bit of courage for me to stand up here today. I don't do this that often, so just bear with me. But so I'm Ben Nesbitt. I manage this Scotiabank here in Swift Current. And I do have to say that I'm very proud, and Scotiabank's very proud to be hosting Hockey Day in Canada in Swift Current for February 2019. Scotiabank's entering the 9th year as title sponsor, and we're proud to support the celebration of hockey, which brings kids hockey clinics and games and NHL celebrities to our community. Scotiabank is proud that we've reached an important milestone to support over 1 million kids so far with the Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada and our Scotiabank hockey sponsorship and commitment to community hockey across Canada. Through the Scotiabank Community Hockey Sponsorship Program, each one of the Scotiabank Canadian branches across the country are given $1,000 each to donate to a local minor hockey association. So that's another big plus and another reason why we've got such good notoriety as far as sponsoring Canadian hockey. And this year alone, Scotiabank's sponsoring over 8,000 community hockey players across the country. So And Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada is much more about, is much more than just the game of hockey. It's about coming together as a community. And quite honestly, since living here for 5 years now, I just couldn't imagine a better community to be in. And really proud to be part of Swift Current. Really proud to be able to be the front runner for this great event. So, as well too, a great thing that we have is a winning team for the Scotiabank Heroes of Hockey Day will also be in Swift Current for the celebration. So, to be determined to wait for the winner of that. And last but not least, we're asking everybody on social media to use the hashtag Hockey Day to share how you're celebrating. So thanks for everybody for coming. Thanks Jared, thanks Joel, and I look forward to absolutely an amazing event, and really, really proud to represent the city of Swift Current. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Ben, and very much thanks to Scotiabank, and great job speaking. I've golfed with Ben, and I think he's a better speaker than a golfer. So just kidding.
No, you're not.
Now at this time, I'd like to call forward Swift Current's energetic leader, who always goes above and beyond to promote and support anything and everything that's happening in Swift Current, and Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada will be no different. From the City of Swift Current is Worship Mayor Dennis Pearl.
Thanks so much, Jared. You know, when I first became mayor, he said, we've got to see these jerseys around a lot more, our Bronco jerseys. We should be very proud of them. So I'm very proud to be wearing my Swift Current tuxedo again today. I wore it for 26 playoff games last year, so I'm so excited. Truly good morning to everyone, and really a warm welcome to everyone here today and to those that are on the line. I'm joined with the majority of my council as well, along with many of our city staff and our administration. I'm very enthusiastic about what's happening here in Swift Current in 2019. Being selected as the host community for this year's Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada is a genuine honor, and it's really a privilege. For me and for our family, hockey is life in Swift Current. It's part of our city culture, and it's a part of our identity. It's what we talk about at our coffee shop, it's what we talk about at the dinner table, and truly it's at every chance that we get. If you're not playing the game, you may be a coach, a ref, or a spectator of the sport, and many of our children spend hours and hours of their childhood at the rink. In Swift Current, hockey is a unifying and connecting force. It brings out courage and confidence, strength and determination. Hockey is always an afternoon of fun, where skates glide across the cold ice and sticks battle each other for the puck. It is a story that unfolds time and time again because it lives within the heart of the young and the old right here in Swift Current. Although hockey is the epicenter of Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada, it's not all that this event is about. We heard that the 4 days we'll spend in our festivities around the great game of hockey, but it's also a time for families to build memories, and it's time for a community to reinforce bonds with one another. February is going to be a celebration of our history and who we are growing to be, the courage that has taken us to get here, and how we can say how proud we are that Swift Current is our home. As the proud mayor of Swift Current, I'm excited for our city, as this is an incredible opportunity to showcase all of us. I want to thank Joel and Sportsnet for their hard work in putting this event together, and for Scotiabank for their incredible support. Thank you for choosing to invest and choosing to select Swift Current. In closing, I'd like to say a very special thank you to Robin Wall and the local organizing committee, all of our city staff and the volunteers for the work they have done, but also for all of the work they're going to continue to do up to and including February the 9th. Thank you so much for coming today, and I look forward to seeing everyone back here in February. Thank you, everyone. Let's grow Swift together.
Thanks very much, Your Worship. Now I will call forward some great community partners and a couple of guys that are feeling pretty good after last night's win. Representatives from the 2018 WHL champion Swift Current Broncos, Governor Al Stewart, along with Dean Brockman, the head coach and director of hockey operations.
Thank you, Jared. Jared pointed out that I should probably shorten mine up. I'm not as eloquent as many of the people here, so I'd like to start with our organization, thanking Sportsnet for selecting Swift Current to host the Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. Thank you very much. To Scotiabank, whose significant sponsorship has created this grand celebration of our national pastime. To the city, for doing everything that they can to make this happen. And thanks so much. They're tremendous partners of our organization. I'd like to thank my friends at the Western Hockey League for bending over backwards to accommodate the Broncos in this opportunity to showcase our organization on a national stage. I want to thank our alumni who have taken time from their schedules and traveled great distances to participate in our alumni game. Several of the players were on the ice when the Broncos reached the pinnacle of major junior hockey, and it'll be so good to see them again. And I finally want to thank our operations staff for enthusiastically shouldering the workload that's required to pull off an event of this magnitude. I'm so looking forward to Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. I think this is going to be an absolute blast.
Well, I can't, you know, it's a lot easier to stand up here after last night's game, I can tell you that. You know, certainly Al thanked everyone, so I won't do that, but I certainly want to, you know, epitomize what everything is all about here today. Hockey is what Swift Current is all about. Its passion and love for the game is second to none. On behalf of the entire Swift Current Broncos organization, we feel honored to be a part of this. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Al and Dean and the Broncos. So for me, the lifelong memories from our city hosting Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada officially begin today. I have the pleasure of introducing someone that most Canadians have literally grown up with. Ron MacLean is the host of Hockey Night in Canada, Rogers Hometown Hockey, and Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. Ron, are you on the line and can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Jared. Can you hear me?
Can everyone hear Ron? Can we turn that up at all a bit?
You want me to move closer to my...
There, we're good. We're good. We're great, Ron. Thanks very much. We're glad that you could join us. I'll start by...
Naturally, now I got an incoming call. 20 minutes, no problem.
I thought I told you to mute that, Ron.
There, I'll just hang up with the poor soul. only I could do that on Coach's Corner. That'd be great.
Well, this is great, Ron. We're so happy that you could join us, and we know it's your 19th edition of Hockey Day, and you've been to all of them, and hockey is a sport that's taken you to every corner of Canada, including Swift Current on a few different occasions. So I'll just start off hoping you can tell us a little bit about what's in store for us this February.
Well, I actually have a question for Joel Darling. Joel, is the guy that's flying from Buffalo via a number of other towns to Regina, is that the guy that gave Don Cherry the hard time in New Jersey?
Yeah, he was, yes, he was there that night. That was the talk about no-touch icing?
Well, yeah, he asked him an opinion. We were doing the Stanley Cup coverage in New Jersey, and Joel has his entourage. He travels like Drake, Joel Darling. So he has his Buffalo buddies there in this little bar across the street from our hotel in Weehawken, New Jersey, and the guy asks Don a question, and Don gives the answer, and then the guy starts to argue. He says, well, what'd you ask me for? And that turned into a funny moment with, so I'm looking forward to, grapes will be on fire. Anyway, happy 30th, and you know, obviously the whole week is a festival of music and goodwill, and I know even Don, speaking of Don, he was planning last week how to make the dinner great on the Thursday night. He said, Ron, we've kind of done a lousy job whisking in and out, and let's get 2 wingback chairs and let's sit there and you tell some stories and ask me some questions, and let's do a good job this year. So let's see how he does. That's going to be the Thursday, and as you mentioned, Joel, Tara Sloan, my colleague on Rogers Hometown Hockey, she and I were there for the show 3 years ago, and had an amazing, actually it was a strange night. Tara's, one of her greatest influences musically is David Bowie, and he died that evening. Died at about 2 in the morning. We were with Mark Lamb and Tiger Williams and Wendell Clark, and the news broke, and that was very emotional for Tara. That's our go-to karaoke song, China Girl by David Bowie. Tara and I like to sing. So Joel's better. You get him in action for his 30th party tonight, and you'll hear some great music. But that's the spirit of it, right? It's a really hockey-oriented get-together. Like when we were there 3 years ago, the Old Forts, I remember going to the game, and
like Maxime Lajoie has been doing so well for the Ottawa Senators this year. I saw him set up Tyler Steenbergen for the first goal of the game that night when we were out there in 2016. And Caden Olfert came, and he was fantastic. He was a big fan of Tyler, who would go on to the World Juniors, of course, and Colby Sissons. And I remember meeting Mike and Carly, I think is the mom. They were the Billett family for two of the boys on the Broncos. And again, it's that feeling you get. And then the other, of course, unbelievable memory is Sheldon Kennedy. And as you may know, our show this year, because of the theme Courage, because of Humboldt, because of 1986, because of Trent McCleary and Dr. David Mulder and Dr. David Fleiser, the two doctors who saved Trent when he took the puck in the throat. I really feel like we're going to, not dampen the mood at all. We're going to heighten the mood by honoring first responders, honoring medical professionals, the backbone of, we always think we're playing the game of our lives, but it's those folks who play that. And so we have a really lovely theme, an unbelievable setting filled with, great guests. And as you said, Joel, who you invite to the party is a key. Like we always say, you don't go back to someone's house because you like the furniture, right? Love Swift Current, can't wait for the show.
Well, that's excellent, Ron. You speak so eloquently, and we're certainly looking forward to having everybody around. Now, unfortunately, we don't have Dave Bedini on the line with us today. He wasn't able to make it, but he was going to talk a little bit about the music of Hockey Day, and I know you've been around these things, and maybe you could share us a little bit about what's going to happen that night and what Dave's got planned for us.
Well, it's funny to have JT and Luke Hunter at your event. The Hunters, when I was at the Canadian Country Music Awards in Saskatoon about a year and a bit ago to honor Paul Brandt and also present Brett Kissel with his Video of the Year award, the Hunters stole that show. They had the after party, and that's all we talked about on the flight back to Toronto the next day was how they killed it. And they're just exceptional, the boys. And then obviously Dave, Bedini leads the way and sort of guides everybody through. But Brian Trottier, to have Brian from Val-Marie, just 50 minutes south of Swift Current. His father, funny, the Hunter boys will get a kick out of this because of Wild Bill Hunter. The great-great-grandfather of Brian Trottier was the last certified buffalo hunter in our country. Small world, right? So we've got just stories to tell that are great, and that's how the music night goes. Everybody kind of tailors it towards a hockey theme or story, and we share little tidbits like that. And I know Brian's been just amazing everywhere we've been, but to be on his home turf will make that part of the Wednesday night concert special for sure.
Brian's dad, Buzz Trottier, is somebody we're all familiar with. I remember he played music at the Wheatland Mall, and I'm not sure if I'm the only one that remembers that growing up. But how's Brian going to handle the pressure coming in? And is he going to be able to live up to his old man's musical chops here in the stomping grounds of Swift Current?
He had to make a big decision, right? It was either hockey or music for Brian back in the day. And, even Tara, the last time I think we were there, you gave her the mayor's gavel. So the drums we'll hear them all the way to Red Deer when we do the show. But Brian, he doesn't feel pressure. He's just one of those guys that loves life and loves people. So yeah, he will honor his father with, I'm sure, some great music for us.
Well, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much, Ron. We will take some questions from the crowd here for Ron in a bit. But before we do that, just on the lines of the music of Hockey Day, I do want to acknowledge that we do have the Hunter brothers are going to be taking a break from their tour in February to join us for that event on Wednesday, February 6th. So I'd like former Bronco captain Luke Hunter and his brother who played somewhere else in the league to come up and say a few words about taking part.
Thank you guys, and thank you, Ron, for those kind words that you spoke about us boys there at the awards show there. So it feels great to be back here. It is like home here in Swift Current. I was privileged to grow up in a family of 5 brothers and a father who all played hockey. In fact, hockey is what consumed the majority of our lives as kids growing up and on into our later years. Between the 5 of us boys, we spent a lot of time not only wearing Swift Current jerseys, but jerseys all across Southwest Saskatchewan. For myself personally, I count myself very fortunate to have been able to play 5 years here with the Swift Current Broncos and captain the team for 2 of those years. To Swift Current, to the Broncos, to the community as a whole, they were absolutely 5 of my most fondest memories, and they were just years that impacted me in ways that I will never forget. So thank you to all of you here in Swift Current. Between us 5 boys, 4 of us went on to play junior hockey. 3 of us continued to go on to play different levels of pro hockey. JJ was fortunate to be able to play exhibition games with the Edmonton Oilers, and 6 years in the American League. And I think it's safe to say that Southwest Saskatchewan played an intricate role in the development of all of us boys in our hockey growing up. And now, although our careers look a little bit different, we're so thankful and excited to be a part of Hockey Day in Canada. All that has changed now is that we've traded in our sticks for some guitars and some mics. But we want to say just thank you so much, Swift Current, for allowing us to be part of this great community once again and sharing that special day. And I guess to finish off, go Broncos, go.
You know, there's a couple things that were mentioned here. First of all, the team that I ended my career with, and they took the loss last night. Way to go, guys. We took quite a few losses my last year. It was a tough year as far as I was concerned. But Ron, you mentioned Wild Bill Hunter, and he was the one that opened the door for me to attend my first training camp in Edmonton. We finished the year in Prince Albert, and he was the guest speaker at our year-end banquet. And we met at the end of that night, and he was the one that gave me the opportunity to get my first NHL training camp in Edmonton. So it's amazing, those connections and how everything is interwoven. It's a really special family, this hockey community. You realize how small it is and how many connections there truly are. And it really is our honor to be part of this. Luke spoke to the hockey. I thought I'd speak for just a minute about the music. You know, in our home, it was an interesting dynamic because there was a pact that was made in our home. Dad put us in hockey, Mom put us in music. We weren't allowed to go out and play hockey until our piano was practiced. So there was a lot of piano practicing that happened in our home because we couldn't wait to get out on the ice and start playing hockey. And you know, as brothers, we've talked a lot about this. We look back and we said, what were kind of the 5 points or pillar points of passion in our life? And they were faith, family, farming, hockey, and music. And those 5 things really were impactful. And it's incredible, you know, just driving into Swift Current again this morning, the many hundreds and hundreds of trips we made here and how Southwest Saskatchewan facilitated so many of those things and those passions for us. Driving in for piano lessons, guitar lessons, theory. We would come in multiple times a week for hockey games, hockey practices as the guys played with the different Swift Current teams. And so it was just amazing to me making the drive again this morning, thinking about this press conference, how impactful the Southwest and Swift Current as a community has been on our lives. And we're so thankful to be part of this community of people. You know, we were busy as kids. There was a lot going on. There wasn't a whole lot of time for TV, but you know, thinking back to the 2 things that we would watch every week. Sunday night, we'd watch The Wonderful World of Disney. Saturday night, we'd watch Hockey Night in Canada. And so now, having that come full circle and being part of Hockey Day in Canada, this amazing event as musicians to be part of this is just a huge honor for us, and we're so thankful to be part of it. Last month marked our 3rd year anniversary of being signed with our label, Open Road Recordings and Management Company, RGK Entertainment. And being part of the country music family, Ron, you mentioned Brian Trottier and Brett Kissel, and this family, it's a tight family as well, kind of like the hockey world. And to be included and be part of that is special. But you know, thinking back to our childhood growing up on the farm, traveling up and down the fields, we got one radio station, CJSN 1490. And we would listen to our heroes, you know, Paul Brandt and the many others that would play on those stations, on that station. And now being back home on the farm, traveling up and down those same fields, listening to that same station, Paul Brandt still comes on the radio, and now having the opportunity to hear our songs be played alongside them is incredibly humbling. And we just want to say thank you collectively to this whole Southwest community, to the community of Swift Current, to this province of Saskatchewan. Nationally, we've been supported so well, but we want to thank you so much for the support that we've received, and it means a tremendous amount to us. And so now to be part of this day is incredible. There's our first top 10 single was a song called Born and Raised, and there's a lyric in that song that says, I'm proud of where I'm from. Yeah, we're the lucky ones. And that's truly how we are feeling here today. That we are proud of where we're from, and we are the lucky ones to be part of such a great community. So congratulations, Swift Current, on hosting such a magnificent event, and we're just so thankful to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, guys. I watch Dallas on Friday nights with my family, so maybe that explains a lot. Anyways, we are going to open it up to questions for Ron or Joel or anybody if needed, but we do have some guests here with us that are going to ask some questions. We've got Bryn Dirksen and Maddie McCleary with the Swift Current AAA Wildcats. So, Bryn, if you want to come forward and ask Ron your question and get us kick-started.
Hi, I'm Bryn Dirksen with the Swift Current Wildcats. My question for you is, since you've done this 19 times around, what would be your favorite memory of Hockey Day in Canada?
Well, that's a good one, Bryn. I would say the second or third year we were in Nova Scotia, and it was kind of a last-minute thing because there had been a strike, so we didn't even know if we were going to have Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. And we ended up in Truro, Nova Scotia, and Wolfville, hosting in the area, and we were on the ice, and it got warm. This happens a lot. Everything's perfect until show day, then the temperature goes up to +10, and that's what happened that day. And Don and I were standing on this lake, and the ice began to go under. And we had all this electrical equipment, and I thought, oh boy, viewers are really going to get a charge out of this one. That's one of my favorite memories, is the panic on Big Don. You know, Big Brother Tough Don was starting to say, shouldn't we be getting off this lake that's melting? It's one of my favorite memories.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Bryn. We also have Ethan Renier and Tanner Nagel with the Swift Current Broncos. Both had a big night last night scoring. Tanner's going to come forward with a question for Ron as well.
Hi, I'm Tanner Nagel with the Swift Current Broncos, and my question for you is, over all the years you've been a broadcaster, what do you think the most memory that sticks out to you is?
Well, first of all, Tanner, that was amazing last night. You were John Tavares on the doorstep, taking a pass from Mitch Marner there to get the opener, and I thought your toe drag in the OT, thought it was done then. Amazing save when it was 2-1 for PA, and they could have put it out of reach. Hofer did what he did all night, but that's nice. I'm glad you got that win, and it's a great organization, and you're a great representative of it. For me, honestly, Tanner, and you'll appreciate this, my first ever broadcast of a Stanley Cup playoff game is, bar none, the biggest memory I have. It was in 1986 in St. Louis. Wendell Clark was the heart and soul of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I did my little on camera to open the broadcast at the old Checker Dome, and they used to have great music. The Saints Come Marching In would blare, and the arena just smelled like a classic silo. And so the puck was dropped at center ice, and I had finished my on camera, and now I was just standing by the goal judge. And within 2 seconds, 2 defensemen were pasted up against the glass, and I thought, oh my God, these guys are going to do this for the next 8.5 to 9 weeks. That's the price they're going to have to pay if they want to win the Stanley Cup. And it kind of was spelled out for me in that very moment what an amazing thing the Stanley Cup is. Because I'd done some Olympic work, I'd done some world track and field, but I'd never seen the intensity of the playoffs up close like that. So that's my favorite, for sure, memory.
Awesome, thank you.
Thanks very much, Tanner. I'll open it up. Is there any questions anyone else with us today has for Ron? Everybody's quiet? Well,
as it would be. You know what? I'll say, Jared, just one last thing.
For sure.
I loved hearing JT and Luke, obviously, and that kind of summarized that mix of, I'll try to remember the 5 F's, well, 3 F's, obviously, faith, family, and farming, and then, of course, hockey and music. That'll be a nice little tidbit for us, JT. You know, Lorna Crozier's a poet. I don't know how many are aware of this story. We used her poetry to open the show in 2016 on Hometown Hockey, and she came from a little bit of a difficult situation. Her father was battling addiction issues, and but her mom was her compass. And her mom, Peggy, used to sell 50-50 tickets at the Broncos game. And Lorna always thought her mom was a seller of dreams. I really liked that idea. So that's what it'll be when we get there for the big show, is to sell dreams for kids like the 200 boys who spoke so perfectly about what that is.
Well, thanks very much, Ron. You've set everything up so well. Everybody's very excited for February, and I know I'm going to speak for everyone in Southwest Saskatchewan when I say we can't wait to see you in February. So we're looking forward to it.
Thank you. Us too.
Excellent. Moving on, we'll get to Robin here in a minute, but organizing an event of this magnitude requires a passion for the game of hockey, a lot of patience, and a significant time commitment. So I would like to ask Robin at this time to come forward and walk us through the different events that will be on tap for Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. Clicker. Here.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks, everyone. This is a hard act to follow. Lots of polished speakers in the room today, so forgive my ums and staring straight at my paper. So I would like to start by saying hello to everyone and thank you for being with us today as we officially announce details of the 19th annual Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada. It has been several years since Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada was last hosted from Saskatchewan, and although much has changed over the years, what has remained a constant is how meaningful the game of hockey is to the people of Saskatchewan and this event's primary purpose of celebrating the game. It is my honor to be the local organizing committee co-chair along with Tim Marcus and to work alongside Joel Darling from Sportsnet, the members of the local organizing committee, the City of Swift Current, Scotiabank, as well as the many volunteers so that we can collectively bring together an event that will leave a lasting impression on our community for years to come. I would now like to provide you with a high-level summary of the much anticipated four-day event. So I'm not going to read exactly what the PowerPoint says, I'm just going to summarize that, and this information will be available to everyone as part of the media package. So like has been alluded to, the first ticketed event is the Music of Hockey Day with Ron, MacLean, and many special guests as listed above. As you can see, Brian Trottier will be performing with his sister Kathy. Tickets will be available at City Hall and PharmaSave, and tickets are $20 apiece. Next, we move to the banquet, which will take place at the Stockade. This is Thursday evening. This fun, family-friendly event will be one everyone will want to attend. Great dinner, stories, the Stanley Cup, and some very special guests will be in attendance. If you're interested in sponsorship of this event, a limited number of corporate tables are available. Then we move into breakfast Friday morning, which is officially called the NHL Declaration of Principles with Andrew Ferentz and the Stanley Cup. Cassie Campbell-Pascal will also be joining us at this event. Get your professional photograph with the Stanley Cup as our appreciation for joining this event. Next is the Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada VIP Broncos Alumni and Celebrity Classic. This event will feature NHL alumni versus Bronco alumni. Tickets are available now to existing Broncos season ticket holders and to the general public on December 13th. A reminder to everyone to save your ticket for the alumni game as it gets you free admission to the cabaret that follows. The cabaret, which is after the alumni game Friday evening, come join us at the Stockade for a fun event. Come listen to Dave Bedini, Brian Trottier, and other local artists. We will be offering a free shuttle from the iPlex to the Stockade. Saturday, the broadcast day, we get into the Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada festival itself. It will start with a Stanley Cup parade at 10:30 in the morning. There will be free shuttles from the iPlex to Riverdene Park all day to help get guests in and out of the park. Join us for a free family day event that includes games, tobogganing, sleigh rides, hockey clinics, hot stove discussions with NHL alumni, and the finals for the Sheldon Kennedy Youth Outdoor Classic Tournament. The Stanley Cup and the Memorial Cup will be on display, as well as many activations you won't want to miss. Thank you to Scotiabank for their generous support of this event, which is the Sheldon Kennedy Youth Outdoor Classic. This tournament will be open to minor hockey novice age players. There will be 8 teams, and some exciting news is that one player from each team will be eligible to win tickets to the banquet and the chance to walk in with Dawn and Ron. For more details, please contact Kelly Schaefer with Safe Places. Volunteer needs. We will need many volunteers to successfully execute this event. If you are interested in being a volunteer for this event, please refer to the city website to sign up. We would love to have you join us. On here, we've got a few frequently asked questions. Where can you find tickets? Where can you find more information? Get involved. We're going to be doing a Paint the Town initiative. We want to drive all of our traffic to the city's website, which you can find the link above. So that's just final words for myself is there are so many people to thank already. It would be hard for me to thank everyone, but I'll do my best, obviously, to the WHL, to the Broncos, to the City of Swift Current, to Scotiabank, to the local organizing committee, to Rogers Sportsnet, and a special thank you to Joel. Without Joel, none of this would have happened. So thanks everybody for being here today. Thank you for supporting this event, and we are really striving to put together a good event for the community. So hoping to see everybody in about 6 or 7 weeks from now. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much, Robin. We are going to be wrapping things up here, but just as an example of what a classy guy Ron MacLean is, he texted Joel just after he hung up, and he said, please make sure you apologize to JJ. He had been calling him JT for the whole conference. It doesn't matter, he didn't play for the Broncos anyways. Anyway, so not that we would ever doubt that, but what a classy guy, Ron, to apologize for that. Anyway, I just want to thank everyone for coming this morning and taking part in a very exciting announcement for Swift Current and Southwest Saskatchewan. This is going to be a week to remember, and I want to encourage everyone to make arrangements to take part in Scotiabank Hockey Day in Canada, February 6th to 9th. I think it goes without saying, don't leave tickets to the last minute. Just as an example, getting ready for that banquet on Thursday night, we are getting pretty darn close to hitting our first target of 600 guests. So once we get to that, we're going to try and extend it and go beyond there. But tickets are going to be highly sought after, and I just want to encourage everyone to get on it, get those tickets and take part. It's going to be an amazing week in our community. Once again, thanks to Sportsnet, Scotiabank, the City of Swift Current, the Western Hockey League, the Swift Current Broncos, and to all of the volunteers that have been working hard and will continue to work hard to make this a memorable week. That will wrap it up, but before we go, I do want to call forward Joel Darling one more time. He's going to make a quick presentation to Mayor Perreault. We can get some photos, and there'll be opportunities for the meeting to chat with guests as well. So thanks everybody for coming.
Sweet. Oh, man, that's awesome. That's so nice. I got a new Swift Current tuxedo. Thanks, Joel. That's very, very kind. Thanks, everybody. See everybody back in February.
That's a wrap. Thanks, everybody.